Welcome to Sunny Day Stamping. I'm Julie Baca. I spent most of the weekend working on some great Christmas projects that I'll be releasing over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. You can subscribe and hit notifications so you get notified as soon as those come out. I'm so excited about them. If you'd like to make these projects on your own, I've got a link down in the description where you can purchase the items, or you can head over to my website, sunnydaystamping.com. I've got such a pretty card to show you today, and I've got some paper saving tips to share with you also. Let's get started. This is the beautiful card I'm going to show you how to make. It's got so much dimension and it's just so festive. Now I will be using the dies to cut out these different pieces, but if you don't have that, you can definitely stamp and just cut these out with scissors. It's definitely more labor intensive, but you can do that. For this piece, you could just cut a straight rectangle, and for this larger piece, which I do have the measurements online, you can just cut a rectangle. I always like to say that because I hate to for you to get discouraged that you can't make the card if you don't have all the supplies, because I definitely think you can adjust. So these are the two stamp sets I'll be using. I have other projects that I've made with these before, so you can check my playlist, and I will be having some great Christmas projects coming up using these. So go ahead and snag these so you can make all the other projects. Now Stampin' Up! Has two different die sets that go with these stamp sets. I just bought one. One of the die sets is the seasonal label dies, and you get all of this. So it will cut out different portions of these, and then has some great labels that will hold your sentiments, and this can be used for other projects as well. Now for this exact card, you're going to use crumb cake, cherry cobbler, and soft succulent, but I'm going to show you this different variation, and this is what we're going to make, where I'm going to use soft succulent, rich raspberry, and then the crumb cake background. And then for the berries, I'm going to use soft sea foam, but what I think would be gorgeous is if you could use some glitter, which they sell at Stampin' Up! Also. So let's start by cutting out all these little pieces. I'm going to line up my sentiment on my grid paper, and so that it is straight on my block. And then I'm going to take my rich raspberry and a scrap piece of white paper and stamp that there. Now also on this white paper, you'll cut out these berries. Now for the actual berries, I'm going to use the soft sea foam, but I'm going to stamp it off because I don't want them to look green. I just want them to have a nice little hint of a berry. Now get your dies and go run this through your cut and emboss machine. You'll have to do this twice because this only comes with one die, so you'll cut this, run it through, and cut the other one. Let me just show you a little difference between the card we're making and this card. In this card, I cut the stems out of crumb cake, and it'll cut in this shape. And then again, I cut the berries out of the cherry cobbler and glued them directly onto here so that they pop up a little bit. Okay, next you'll grab this stamp and your soft succulent scrap of paper and ink this up in a soft succulent and stamp it once and then twice, because I want two different tones of the same color. And I know that one's lighter. I kind of want it to be lighter because I want this middle leaf to really stand out. So I'm going to stamp this off and stamp again. Now go ahead and cut this with your die cut machine, or you can cut them out by hand. Okay, for our last cut, you're actually going to take the layer that goes inside of here and cut your die right out of the center. It's going to save paper and no one's going to notice. So make sure that you cut this to 5 1/4 by 4. I have those measurements on my website. Okay, so one tip is make sure you cut this out of the center. Don't line it up like really close to the edge, or else when you go to layer it on the inside of here, it'll show. So make sure you just chop that right out of the middle. Okay, now if you'll notice, you can see that this is smaller than that shield. So it actually is the same piece. One trick is just to cut it here and it'll elongate this and will hide all the mess behind this sentiment here. So go ahead and grab your paper trimmer and just trim it right there. There, so you see now we can put it on our card. We can glue that on our card and put this right there, and it gives us a nice big like base for our flowers. Now before we attach all our pieces, we're gonna just put a light little decoration of leaves on the background, and we're gonna do it just very light. We're gonna do crumb cake, but we're gonna stamp it off because I just want a little bit of dimension in the back. I don't want it to, you know, take away from our main image. So you're just kind of going all the way around to create a frame. And then I like to throw one more on the back just as a little decoration. So now you want to just put your, I'm going to call this a shield, put this on your card to see exactly where you're going to want to glue it. I'm going to kind of make sure that this is all going to get covered up. And I'm really just using that frame that I made with these leaves to make sure this is in the center. Okay, now we're going to put on our sentiment and we're going to pop it up with some dimensionals. Now I am running very low on dimensionals, and I did this on purpose because I wanted to show you my little thrifty, tip. I'm just gonna grab this edge. There's no reason to throw this out. This is the same stuff as the other dimensionals, and just pop it on here. Now I want to make sure I put this on the. I want to put this on the top because we're actually going to slide our leaves underneath, so I don't want a dimensional getting in the way. So now normally you would put a dimensional there because you can see how it's caving in, but once we put the flowers underneath, it'll pop that up. So let's set this aside and go ahead and build our bouquet of flowers. We're going to take our 2 light leaves and we'll glue those together, and I want my main darker leaf in the middle. And you don't need that much glue. I gotta move that so it doesn't stick to my paper. Now this one, we're just gonna put a little bit of glue there, a little on the stem. And when I orient this, I don't want these all to be straight at the same length. So I'm gonna have this one come down a little bit so it's hanging down farther than the rest. And this will be hidden by our berries anyway. I'm going to do the same thing with the berries. I don't want them at the same height, or I don't want them hanging down the same way. There, and I also do not want to put glue everywhere on these. I want to kind of have them be able to be more 3D. So just glue at the top. I'm just going to rub this away because I don't want to stick my card down on it and have it stick to my paper. Now we're just going to add a little bit of glue here. And we're going to center this under here. Just tuck it under there and press down. Now let's add a little bow. This is Stampin' Up's linen thread. I just love this. As you can see, I'm almost out. It really makes it easy to tie a bow. Now I'm just going to put a little dot of glue right here. Stampin' Up also sells something called glue dots, which I think would do a better job than this, but I don't have that, so I'm going to use this little liquid glue. Just press it for a little bit until it feels like it's stuck. You can also fray the edges of the ends of these bows just to give it a little more rustic look. All right, let's do the inside. For the inside, I'm going to use this other sentiment out of the Christmas to Remember stamp set. Use the rich razzleberry. And then we're just going to take some of the same leaves from the front to decorate the inside. use crumb cake on the stem and the soft sea foam stamped off for the berries. Now grab that piece that you die cut out of, and we're going to glue this onto here. And you don't want to put glue in the middle because it's going to go straight through. So just glue along the edge. Don't do that close to the edge. That's going to be a mess. Oh well. Let me see if I can wipe it off first. Yeah, let's do that. There, you have a great layer for your inside, and you needed to cut it out anyway. So instead of just throwing this in the trash, you use it to make your card more beautiful. I'm actually not going to put glue in the middle there because I don't want it to sink down. I know I've done that in cards in the past, but I don't know. I'm going to try this out and see if that works better. There we go. Just gorgeous. Now let's decorate that envelope. For the envelope, I'm just going to pull in those same elements from the card. I think I'm going to decorate this way. Oh, let's do that. Did the wrong berries. That looks pretty though. Let's see how those berries look. I think that's okay. I think I'm gonna add this Merry Christmas along the bottom here. So I do want that centered up. So I'm actually gonna center my envelope on the center of my grid paper and try to make that in the center. It's hard when the camera's in the way. Oh, that's so pretty. I love this grid paper. I mean, you need it to keep your surface clean, but then you can also use it for measuring. Here's our beautiful card again with the matching envelope. I went ahead and did the envelope again in this color berry just to see which one we liked better. Here's the cherry cobbler with the evening evergreen and its matching envelope. Don't forget to grab your free project sheet. You can just download it and it has all the measurements and the list of supplies so you can have it right next to you while you're making these cards. Let me know if you use any different color combinations or which one of these color combinations are your favorite. Just leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. Have a sunny day.